You're listening to What's Good Sacramento, where we not only talk about real estate and home loans, but what's going on in the greater Sacramento area. What's new, what's hot, what is going on. You're here with Mac, the mortgage man, and Lisa, your local Sacramento realtor. Let's jump on into today's show. Good morning and welcome to What's Good Sacramento. I'm ready to have a great day. We're here with Lisa. Lisa, how you doing today?
Good morning, Mac. Good morning, everybody. I'm good. I'm feeling really good. It's Friday. Let's talk about something new or something that's hot that's coming up here in SAC this month. If we're talking events, we've got a lot going on. I was just looking up stuff to do, and Thunder Valley's got a lot of nice artists coming to town. I'm pretty impressed. They've
Now,
got
when you say
Maxwell,
artists, you mean artists like painting, artists like music? Like, is this theater art? What art are you
music,
talking about?
duh,
Oh, okay, I got you.
musicians.
Okay.
I was just gonna say a few. Maxwell and Macy Gray. Are you
Mm,
familiar?
no, I'm gonna say no. Here's the thing about
Mhm.
music is I obviously enjoy music and I'm getting more into the production side of music, so I'm liking that. But I've never been big with like memorizing artists or even really song lyrics or anything like that. I just kind of feel the vibe a little bit and kind of go
Right?
from there. And so I'm kind of like the worst person to talk music with,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but I'm hoping to get better at that. And yeah, that's a little spin off about Mac and his music knowledge.
No, but that's crazy because on the reverse side, it's like me and Mo will go toe to toe with
Mm.
music, and he'll, like, DJ random songs, and we'll have to, like,
Mm.
say the artist name or the lyrics, and it's funny, like, I've never met someone that knows music as well as he does. But, yeah, so
I
then
can
they've
do that
got
with movies. Yeah,
oh,
movies are
no,
my
no, no,
thing.
no.
I love movies, so I can definitely do that, but music, I'm worthless. I would be like the worst trivia partner if you wanted to, if there was like a music category, I'd be like, good luck,
Right?
guys.
We should
Farewell.
do that. You should ask Jazz. You should do trivia. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So then they've got like Legends of Motown.
Yeah.
You know
Motown, I
Motown.
know. Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And I was like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Mm.
And then here's one Pitbull. Tell me you know who Pitbull
Oh,
is.
yeah. Everyone knows. Whoa, whoa, Pitbull. Yeah, everyone knows. Well, that's more
Pitbull,
DMX, isn't it? Yeah.
right? I
But
was like,
yeah, I know
well,
Pitbull.
yeah, so he's coming in at the end of July, and I was like, "That's pretty hot." Like,
Mm.
"Look at Thunder Valley, we see you. You guys are doing it over there." So, on the flip side, if for the family members, I wanna do something a little more relaxing,
Mm.
not huge crowds, don't wanna be in, a casino environment, they've got this, horse show, and I don't know if you're into horses or any of you folks out there, but it's at the, Marietta Equestrian Center.
Mm-hmm.
They've got this Golden Grand Summer Horse Show, and I thought it kind of reminded me of when I was a kid, like my grandpa. I think I mentioned this before. He used to raise stallions and he had a ranch out in Sebastopol. I remember being like really little and him
Mm.
putting me, my sister, and one of my cousins on the back of his stallion. And that horse bucked. Oh my gosh, I was so scared. Now, it wasn't the last time I've ever been on a horse. I've horseback rode quite a few times, but that just kind of got my head spinning. And he
Mm.
used to do like rodeos,
Yeah.
like cutting the bulls,
Mm-hmm.
bull cutting, like it was just different stuff. And we used to sit there in the arena and watch him do that.
Right.
So I thought that's kind of cool. Just something, something that's hot and new coming in
Mm-hmm.
July for those of you out there.
Right. Well,
So have you ever
so
horseback ride?
two things, right? First thing, the music thing, right? Um, we have you talked about out there at Thunder Valley, but we have such great music opportunities out here in Sacramento in general. We have like these local casinos that like bring good artists out here, but also we get
Yeah.
amazing artists over in downtown, right? At the arena that's down there. And then we also have Wheatland, which brings crazy artists as well. And so I feel like I don't know if Sacramento's like a huge music scene because again, I'm not like really part of that, but um
Hmm.
there's such great like opportunity out here. And then we have what's the one like the rock festival that's out here. Um I totally forget
Oh,
what
the
it.
Hard Rock?
No, 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 the Rock
Aftershock?
Festival.
Oh,
Aftershock,
Rock
thank you.
no,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah, Aftershock. So
yes,
we have Aftershock out here, which is a huge rock festival where we get like
it's true.
real
It's
big name rock. And then we have, Concert in the Park, which
mhm.
now from that we have developed a singular event, which is the Country in the Park event. And that's now held over at the racetracks, right? Kind of
Oh,
leading into the horse stuff. But music has really developed a lot out here. So if you are into music and you do like that sort of stuff, there's a lot of opportunities out here to go, hang out and watch live music. Now, keep in mind, I think it's gonna be like 100 degrees today, so go out at your own
right.
risk. But that's up to you. Now, as far as the Rancho Marietta location, I actually know exactly where that's at for two reasons. One, when I worked with the Boy Scouts, there was
Mhm.
a group out there, a Boy Scout group and a Cub Scout group, and they're in Rancho Marietta. So they go over there for like part of their yearly experiences, right? Which is super cool. But
Mhm.
I also drive past that all the time when I go out to Sac Valley Shooting Club out in Ione. You drive right past
Oh, yeah.
Rancho Marietta, and then it's about another 5 minutes down the road. And so I see it all the time, and it is very nice. It's super beautiful, like stables, like everything's really nice. And there was a point in my life where I grew up on a property that had, I want to say, 16 horses on it. And
Oh,
um,
wow.
and that was fun, except for when you're young and you live around there, you end up cleaning up after these animals. That was not fun. So I have a little bit of experiences with that, and I grew up a good portion of my like teen years in the Central Valley, where rodeos
Mhm.
are very prevalent. And so I've been to quite a bit of rodeos. Even I lived very close to Oakdale, which they have deemed themselves the cowboy capital of the world. Now, maybe Texas might have
Ooh,
something to say
the
about that,
cowboys.
but yeah, so definitely a lot of cool stuff going on. And even like I went to the Folsom Rodeo, not this summer, but the summer before. So there's a lot of stuff like that
Mhm.
still out there, and I think that's because we're rooted in country a little bit here, right? I mean, we've developed a lot more, but Sacramento used to be a lot of
Yes.
country land. So yeah, I'm right there with you on that.
Especially, like, how we talked about last week, Elk Grove. I mean, that used to be all country,
Hmm.
and you talk to some of the original folks that have lived out there, they're just like just to see the makeover of Sacramento as a whole in these small outskirt
Yeah.
towns, it's like, wow, they're really developing. But yeah, I mean, me thinking back about horses, like I've rode horses a few times as an adult,
Mm.
and even that's a little like scary. It's like, if they buck or they jerk or they want to go faster, because they're
Right.
just such huge beasts, but they're just beautiful too. Like I
Mm.
love them. I mean, I can't say that I had to clean the horses, but I did own a Dane, a few Great Danes, and
Mm.
they're like miniature
Yeah,
ponies.
they're
So
huge.
that was yeah, and I used
Yeah.
to have to wash, my Dane
Yeah.
outside with the hose
Hmm.
like a horse. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just going through that scary feeling of like, oh my gosh, it startled me for some time to get back on a horse. But then
Hmm.
after that, I was like, my grandpa was that type of man that would be like, no, you have to do it again. Okay.
Right.
But speaking of scary, it made me think about this article in the Daily News Briefs. They were talking about how, the US central bank has to start working to raise interest rates again because they're just not satisfied. I'm like, that's crazy because they need to control inflation. We're still too
Mm.
high, way too high. So, Mac, tell us, how does that fare with interest rates today?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, they're not satisfied. They're like a teen who just discovered their body, and like they're just like, we gotta keep doing it, we gotta keep doing it. We're never satisfied. I'm like, get it together, guys.
I
You would think that
know.
like, we've been around for a while. Yeah, we're not as old as other countries, but we've had a lot of examples to lean on, and you would think that our country could figure this out, right? I don't know. It's very weird, but it's leading to some problems. So let's take a look at the rates, guys. Again, as always, if you're interested, Mortgage News Daily. Now, again, this is not just because this says this is what your rate is here, does not mean that this is what your rate's going to be if you need to apply for a house, right? They typically base this on like good borrowers, meaning like 700 above, like good down payments, low debt to income. And, they're kind of like, they base it off of that. And if you are a borrower that's struggling a bit more, this is going to be a bit higher, potentially a little bit lower, depending on, if you're a better borrower. But we're 7.22. Now, keep in mind that the last time we talked, we were under 7, right? So we've seen an increase here
Right.
built in. Now, maybe that's because people are starting to project that we're going to get that increase. But it's not unreasonable to think that by the end of the year, we might be sitting at 7.5 to 8% interest rates. So that's on par for what we've been talking about, right? We've been talking to all of our clients and all of our friends. Matter of fact, one of my one of my brother-in-law, I guess is the best way to put it, brother-in-law called me the other day. And well, you know how it is when you're in like an ethnic family situation, like
Yes.
everybody's a cousin and an uncle and an aunt and whatever. But anyway, so he called me and he's like, "Hey, I got a buddy and he's trying to figure out a mortgage. Can you talk to him?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right." So it's like that happens a lot, right? Like people just call you and they're like, "Hey, can we do a quick little talk about this?" So rates,
Right.
rates are up a little bit, and and we always kind of stick on this 30-year conventional because this fixed rate because we that's where we want everybody to be, right? That's really our ideal
Right.
position. I mean, 15-year would be great too, but it's a little expensive to do that. So
Mm.
you can see here, this is that big goalie there where everybody thinks that this is where we're always at, right? But we're up here now. This doesn't go like super far back, although I think there is an opportunity to go further back. But you can see here, like we're up there right now. So um, keep that in mind. Understand that there's still ways to navigate the market. There's still ways to get into a home. And man, it's so interesting because I'm on every social media platform, right? I even just joined Trends, which I'm not super happy with the way that
Same.
yeah, what that's
Don't talk
going.
about it yet. We're talking about it next time.
All right. So, but because that's kind of my background is the media side. I'm on every platform and I kind of see what's going on there. And there's this big talk right now. I mean, we've talked about this. Maybe we haven't talked about this, but I've talked about this on my podcast. Um, investors, private investors that are buying up single family residential. I think right now it's sitting at about 25%. And they're
Mm.
projecting, within the next 10 years that private investors will own 40% of single family residential in the United States. There's billion
Yeah, we
dollar
have talked about
funds
this.
billion
Mhm.
dollar funds being put together to buy these properties. So not only are you competing against a difficult market, you're competing against these large firms that are buying up these properties, right? And unless somebody steps in, in our government to create some sort of law against this, which there's regulations that are coming out of Canada that they're doing a very similar thing, it's not looking great. So I know that I'm always kind of the doom and gloom guy over here, but we want to be, real with you guys. We want to get people into homes because if you don't own property, you're servitude to the government. Now, keep in mind, you're always gonna have to pay property taxes. That's never gonna go away. But you know, if you have any knowledge of any historian base, owning property means something, right? And yeah, we look at it now as like a big sort of like it's a death thing and it's a burden and things like that. But ultimately, owning land means that I hate to say it, like it means you matter because people who don't own land it's not like they don't matter, right? But it's a significant part of like building generational wealth for your family, setting you up, right? And you kind of have to think about it that way. It's an investment. And so, man, things
I
are getting
think,
wild out
yeah,
there.
being able yeah, and I think just to kind of piggyback what you're saying, it's like to be able to have something and make it your own,
Mm,
where someone else isn't dictating how you're going to, design. Obviously, with these communities that we usually feature every week,
mhm.
they have, HOAs or, CCNRs, but overall, it's like if I want to paint the inside of my house blue, I can,
Mm,
or if I want to redo my yard. So just being able to personalize, your property.
yeah,
And at that, it's like either way, you're going to end up spending the money,
yeah,
right? Whether you're paying your landlord's mortgage or your own.
yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, and the
But
thing is most
oh, go
people, they don't, like, move into a house and rent it and then do nothing, right? That's very uncommon just because the way that people are wired, they want the environment they're in to match kind of who they are. They want the environment to be clean and tidy. And so I have friends who rent houses and they spend hours working on the backyards. They are cleaning up the houses. They're doing all of these things. And you hear about this where even my wife, her dad's friend out in England, they were talking about how the people that live there asked if they could build a permanent shed in the backyard and that they would pay for
oh wow.
half of it and they would leave it when they move. Right. And he's like, why
And
wouldn't
so
he do
you're
that?
spending that kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. On something that's not yours, and you're
Yeah.
not going to take to the next rental because you don't know what that space will look like.
Right.
So those are things to consider when we're thinking renting versus owning. So if we're talking about renting, and I'm not the gloom and doom, I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
guys a brighter side
You're
of the
the brighter
equation,
person
right?
for sure.
So another affordable community, since we're highlighting Lincoln today, is on the outskirts of Sacramento County. It's actually residing in Placer, and you'll touch on that. But the average median sold properties last year to date, was 743,000, right? Today's average median is 700, I'm sorry, 687.
Yeah.
So what a decline, right? Especially for Lincoln. Like I know it's like when I think of Lincoln, I only think of two things: new communities and casino. Like
Mm.
that's literally what I think of when I go out there. I
Yeah.
don't know. But that's like a 7.5% decline, when we're
Right.
talking real estate. So again, it's another opportunity, you guys. So if you're looking for somewhere affordable, there is affordable communities, and these are new builds that I like to highlight because
Mm.
everybody likes new, right? Doesn't mean that that's going to be your cup of tea when you're ready to purchase, but I think it's good to know what's out there that's new versus old so that you
Right.
can compare notes,
Hmm.
right? So tell us a little bit about the area
Yeah, well,
of Lincoln.
always surprised about like the price point of Lincoln because again, like kind of how you said, like in my brain, it's like a little further out. And I always think like, yeah, I know there's some nice houses out there, but to me, it feels like a little more rural. And so I always think the property
Yeah.
prices are going to be a little cheaper, but I think you get really nice developments out there with land. And so it drives those prices up, right? And there's a thing that happens in these like more rural communities where this happens kind of where I grew up and there's normal priced houses there, and then there's multi-million dollar properties because there's farmland, right? And so those properties drive up the value of other properties, especially during the time when like they're selling or switching hands. And so um I think we need to like spend a day out in Lincoln, just going to look at properties and like learning the community a little bit. Cause I really feel like I don't know what's going on out there as much as I probably should. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Lincoln's a cool place out there in Placer County. Um, Placer County is such an interesting place because, like, especially when COVID was happening, right? And everything went down. It was like Sacramento versus Placer County because we're like butted up to each other, and
Yes.
the rules were different. It was such a weird.
All of a sudden the lines are well defined.
Yeah, it was very odd. They're like, this is like the Wild West in Plaster, and then we were out here in Sacramento.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of fun places out in Placer County. And interesting enough, the website Niche in 2023 has ranked Placer County number 7 for best place to raise a family. Number 7. Now I have to hope that some of that spills over here into Sacramento County. We're gonna take some of that residual best place to raise your family. But again, I think that when people are looking at, and this kind of goes to what you normally talk about, which is learning the community that you're going to move into, because we're so
Right.
fixated on purchasing the home that we're going to be in. We forget how
Mhm.
important the community is. And when you're looking somewhere, you might not be considering somewhere like Placer, but when you think about like these areas that are a little less developed, they're typically a little less, crime. There's a little less people in the classrooms, so they get a little more
Mhm.
attention. They tend to do things that are a little bit different, maybe a little more kind of life experiences when you're in school. And so there's always these interesting things about being out in an area like that that you could take advantage of. So definitely something to consider. And, Sacramento area is, we're still ranking. I always say we're in the top 10, I think, in the nation, which
We
makes sense because
are,
we're in California. We're
like,
at the capital.
overall.
hmm
Mhm.
So it's looking good out there, but we're a little further than 20 minutes from downtown Sacramento, but it's in that 20-minute realm, right? Just throw some music on, you're right there. Population a little over 50,000 people. Now median rent is 1851. Now that's pretty in line with what we're seeing in most of these kind of like outlier places. So
Mhm.
you're looking to rent pretty much right there. I don't think, we've been talking about this for a while now. I don't think that you can really get a rent lower than, unless you're renting a room or something, or like a singular loft, or you're, renting a barn, like maybe
A
yeah, I
barn.
don't know. Well, you remember what's that one movie with the guy
Oh.
who's a bouncer, and oh man, I cannot remember the name of the movie. But anyway, he comes into town and he rents the barn, and he's like above in the barn or whatever. So, you know what? It is what it is. But the point being is that renting, it seems like it's pretty much staying right there, like between 1,800 and $2,000, right? So
Mhm.
expect to pay that. Now, right now, having a mortgage at that low is pretty difficult. So, you're going back and forth on that, but it's definitely up there. So now that we know a little bit about what's going on out there, Lisa, why don't we jump in, talk a little bit about what's going on in the community activities out there in the Lincoln area?
Absolutely. So again, as I mentioned, the way my brain registers, I think of Thunder Valley. And like I mentioned previously, there's a lot of highlighted musical artists that are coming out even in this month. So I think there's a lot to offer. But besides that, if you've ever been out to Thunder Valley, like I don't gamble personally.
Mm.
I'm just probably too cheap. I'm like, I don't want to waste any type of money like that. But I mean, I've tried it like once, twice, maybe.
Mm,
It's just not my thing. But I have gone there and kind of indulged in like the spa pool cabana scene.
mm,
And that was pretty fun. Like that's more of my kind of flow. So they do offer that over there at Thunder Valley for those of you who aren't perhaps into gambling or you don't like the nightlife with the venues and events that they have. But they also have huge grand rooms for meetings and events to hold if you're more corporate or you have a small business and you're looking for a venue or a location. Um, but they also, I guess, what I think of because I have been out there in Lincoln once. I believe it was Lincoln for wine tasting.
mm,
But they have huge golf courses, and
mm.
that was something that I thought was beautiful driving up to the brand new homes. And you're right, it's either you jump from like the middle size average homes to like really huge, almost estate like.
Right.
But Lincoln Hills Golf Club is like over 6,000 square feet of golf course and 36 holes. I don't know. I don't personally golf. I think I'd be pretty good at
It's a
it.
lot of
We've played
holes.
mini golf. Is it?
Yeah, it's a
Is it?
lot.
But yeah, like, do you golf?
I don't golf. I've tried, and I wanted to, because I have a lot of friends that golf, and the circles that I run in, there's a lot of people that golf, but I shoot. I'm a long range 1,000 yard precision shooter. That's my thing. There's this little joke that goes on in the shooting community that says it's long range shooting. It's like golf, but for men.
Okay. Hey, but did I see that Jazz was shooting? Did you
Yeah,
have her on
she's
again? And
good,
she
dude. She's
that's pretty
this is the
awesome.
thing. A lot of in my experience, not a lot of women are like super like, "Oh, I want to go shooting." But when they do go shooting,
Yeah.
they're pretty good. Um there's a
Nice.
club out in Ione that I was talking to you about, where they do PRS shooting. It's like kind of a faster pace shooting at different ranges. And there's
Mhm.
a woman out there who I see come on the rankings all the time. She'll win. She'll be in the top three. She's really good. And Jazz is good too. Hope maybe someday she'll like get into it, and then I can get her a rifle. it'll give me another excuse to purchase and build another one. So,
Right.
but yeah, she's good.
So golfing for men, interesting. What else is going on over there in Lincoln?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the one thing I miss about being like a little bit younger, and being like the like teen boy, right? Like yeah, like high teens, and then like you're in your low 20s, and you're like just testosterone driven. Like everything's a competition. You make fun of everybody for everything, and you get a little bit older, and that goes away. But that is one fun thing about being out like in the communities like that is you kind of have that stuff going on. So but Thunder Valley, funny enough, I think I might have told this story here about my truck getting stolen and then getting abandoned literally right down the street from Thunder Valley. So
Oh my
I
gosh.
have not been in Thunder Valley, but I have seen it when I had to go pick up my truck that was stolen. So
That's crazy.
yeah, been there.
So they were
Uh,
gambling.
yeah, it was the weirdest thing. They didn't really, they just kind of messed, like dirtied it a little bit and then like took a little bit, but they didn't really take much. It was I think it was literally just like a joyride type of thing. It was weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, whatever it was. But so yeah, the community out there, right? So again, we're looking at ratings, we're figuring out where are we at, and Lincoln is ranked 15 or like it's in the ranking for the 15 best California wine trails to sip, right? So you look at this 2003, there's a lot of wineries out there right now. I'm not a huge wine drinker, but my wife and her friends do like to drink wine. And so when we're driving out there to go to some of the wineries, I always think I see two things. I see like you said, these like lots, these estates that are out there that have like
Mhm.
horses and like super nice, and then wineries. So
Yeah.
there's a lot going on out there. The wine to trails is Auburn, Granite Bay, Lincoln, Loomis, Newcastle, Rockland, and you can do all of these and kind of participate in this, right? So there's
Mhm.
30 wineries participating. I can see your brains were like, I can see you smiling. Like your smile looks a little bigger than it normally does. You're like 30 wineries. Oh, girl, what's up? Right?
'Cause we always think of Napa, right?
Yeah.
You think of Napa, and until I moved out here and just kind of ventured out in the outskirts, like Lincoln,
Mm.
and what's the other one? It's up the other direction, Jackson, like, there's another
Yeah. I
wine
don't,
country
again, I don't
area.
drink a ton of wine, so I
Yeah,
don't like pay attention to where
but I was,
wineries
like,
are, but
impressed. I was like,
yeah,
"Okay."
I mean, it's pretty cool, right? And if you like I said, if you're into wine, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity now. Napa clearly had a better PR guy, which is why we know about Napa wine, right? Because I don't know if Napa wine is innately like 1,000 times better than Sacramento-ish wine, but yeah, I mean, they're out
You're
there.
funny.
So you can buy a summer pass. So I hope you've been saving up those nickels and pennies for $40. You can be out there, you can get a little bit, and you can get an exclusive pass to the Sip and Suds winemaker and brewers barbecue. Jesus, that's a mouthful, right? Say
Right.
that 3 times fast. So, but yeah, local wine, and again, like it kind of pairs together because we were talking about this before. Like I went to the Lincoln Brew Festival there as well. So there's a lot
Oh,
of
you
like,
did?
yeah, there's a lot of
Okay.
brew festivals that are around here. There's a lot of wine stuff.
Mm,
So you can definitely like do all this stuff. You can do the Taste of Lincoln showcase. It's the
mhm,
21st annual food, drinks, and music. I think it's sometime in August, like around the 23rd.
mhm.
So we have that, and then yeah, there's these bike trails when you can. We have that in Sacramento. When we talked about West Sac. And then we
Yes,
talked about the Drake's Brewery that's down there. And so
right.
it's funny because like it's literally right on the bike path. So you can just
Mhm.
like, park your
Ride your bike.
bike, get a
Uh-huh.
drink, and there's like kind of a similar vibe out here, right?
Just don't
So
drink and bike.
yeah, well, I'm not, this is a free country, do what you please, but
Oh
there's laws in
gosh.
place. You're gonna have to deal with the ramifications of whatever happens. But yeah, I mean it's crazy. So there's a lot of fun things to do. I know I feel like we're only talking about drinking, like where this is a, promotional video for drinking wine and going to get beer. But, we're sticking a little more adult themed this week. And, for those people that want to go out there for who want to have fun. Now, when you go to these festivals, keep in mind that like there's kids there. So there's typically going to be fun things that I think when kids go, now you have a kid, so you would know.
Mhm,
Um, they would, whatever it is, if it's in that sort of atmosphere,
mhm.
it's like a carnival, right? It's
That's
like
funny.
it's a carnival to them. It's not, or it's like a fair or whatever. It's not like a brewer. Like we're at a carnival. That's what I think
Yeah.
little kids would think.
It's funny because I personally don't bring Nevi to, venues
Mm,
like this, but I have seen kids
yeah.
in different venues. And I think that you're right. It gives it more of like a family
Mm,
vibe. I've even seen like families bring babies and stuff to wineries. I'm
yeah.
like, huh, that's different. But you know what? Hey, if it works, it works. And
Yeah.
if you're comfortable, then why not enjoy a glass of wine? I mean, going and wine tasting doesn't necessarily equal drunk. I
Yeah.
think it's more of like an experience and it's
Right.
a very social
Yeah.
type ordeal. So I can see how you can say, Jazz likes to take her friends or you guys like to
Yeah.
go and you're just kind of butting along. Yeah, because
Mm,
it's fun for everybody. And you're outdoors. And I
yeah.
think that's what I was impressed by was sitting there with a large group of women and we're just laughing, talking, and just kind of taking it all in,
Yeah.
and the environment was good. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're always great. Our favorite place to go is Rancho Robles. Shout out. And
Oh,
they
shout out.
they have
Trying to get
they
some
yeah,
free
trying to get
wine.
a sponsorship. No, but they have a like a small playground there. And
Okay.
yeah. And then they do like fire pits and stuff like that.
I
They
think
bring
that's the smartest idea
Yeah, they
you
bring
could ever
food
do.
trucks out. So, yeah, it's more, and then you're right. Like the thing about wine is not to say that people don't get wine like smashed, but most of the time going to a winery is not that sort of experience, right? It's like
Mhm.
sipping on a couple, glasses of wine and chilling. And so it is definitely can be more of a family experience than maybe, a brew festival, which maybe carries a different sort of atmosphere. So, you know what? We spend a lot of time on this. So, why don't we talk about what everyone's actually here for? Is I want to own a house out in Lincoln. Tell us about the new projects or existing projects that are out
Yes.
there.
Yes, absolutely. So there is another community that I want to feature this week, and we've touched on this particular builder before, like in one of our first episodes,
Mm,
Lennar Homes. I love them.
they're
Like
huge.
they're built beautifully, quality, and I mean, what can you say? They just have a lot to offer. But in this particular community by Lennar Homes, in Lincoln, Windsor Crossings at River Oaks North, to be specific. So they feature homes between a little over 1,700 square feet to 2,900 square feet. So almost 3,000, right?
Hmm.
10 new homes, you guys. Not very many for that particular community. And, of course, they offer like the ring, the video doorbell. And I really like that kind of stuff, like the attention to details,
Yeah.
because these are just things I don't have to buy outside of my own pocket. They just come standard with the house. And besides that, it's like, I don't know, I'm about you, but I'm a little weary as a girl being home and my doorbell rings and I don't know who's at the front door. I won't answer it. If I'm not expecting you, don't expect me to answer the door.
Right.
Whatever you're selling, I don't need it.
Hmm.
But the price ranges in this community start in the high four or mid fours, excuse me, which I thought, oh, okay, to high fives. So 575 is on the higher end. So residence 1951, and I think they feature that as the name of
Hmm.
the property because it's the square footage of the
Right.
house. So it's easy for you to follow. The starting price range there is at 463, 990.
Hmm.
Not bad for Lincoln. 4 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage, you guys. 1 bedroom featured downstairs. And I know we always talk about that. I love that
Mm.
personally. Gourmet kitchen, stainless steel appliances. And I mean, what more could you ask for in that price range? I'm like, that is awesome. So then they also have on the higher end residence 2410. That's the square footage of the property, 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom, a loft, and a 2 car garage.
Hmm.
It's priced at 575, well, a little over that. So if you're interested in looking at brand new homes or you want to see already developed communities in Lincoln or in any area in the greater Sacramento, County, you know who to call. You can call me Lisa, and I would love to show you guys those properties. So,
That's
Matt,
right. Listing by Lisa's
yes,
or
yes.
listings
What
by
else?
Lisa. I said Lisa's like there's 12 of you out there just like, but that's how she works. All right. She's that good. She's like 12 people just getting it done.
So, what else do they have to look forward to, Mac?
Well, we always appreciate you guys being on, and we really want to make sure we are doing what we can to help you guys out. Again, if you've been listening in, you heard my little doom and gloom earlier. So, there's preparation that goes into buying a property, right? Now, I will say kind of what you were talking about this Lincoln area, houses under 500,000 that are brand new build, we're not seeing a lot of those. So I was surprised when you kind of sent that over. That's a little bit exciting for me. That's where I like personally, that's where like I like to buy around like under 500,000. And that's like for me, like a new build. I'm like, I would consider getting that. That's like pretty good, right?
Hmm.
So we definitely appreciate you guys being on. But it's time to take actionable movements towards getting a home, right? This is not us trying to force you or guilt you into feeling like you need to own a home. But if you do want to own a home at some point, it's time to do your credit report analysis. It's time to get a community report analysis done with Lisa. It's time to do your first time homebuyer seminars and do your roadmap to home ownership and get everything laid out so we can help you get into a home when it makes the most sense for you, right? So reach out to us, right? You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on my website at macthemortgageman.com. And you can set up a time for us to meet and for all of us to, get you moving in the right direction. So, other than that, it's hot out there. It's hot in Sacramento. We've made it. It is summer, 100 degrees out there. So stay cool this weekend. Stay cool every day. And if you're looking to
Be
buy a
cool.
house, yeah, buy a house with a pool. I highly recommend it because
Mm.
it is hot out there. So thank you guys for being on. And we're going to go ahead and say goodbye today. And thank you guys as always.
Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.